Welcome, guys. This is In the Box with number eight already. And we are privileged today to be joined by the man behind the bits, GungHoBob. Bob, how are you?
Not too bad at all, mate. Thank you very much. Not too bad.
Good stuff. So, Bob, obviously a regular in the channel for the lunchtime lives and also drops in on the Down the Locals as well. You know, the format is the 5 questions, the 5 important questions, with the 5th question being the 5 important attributes. We'll kick off because it makes sense. We'll kick off with question number 1. So, first question, Bob. What is your first real memory of football?
Well, I'd put that down to when I was born in London, so I was surrounded by football. I think my first real memory would be filling Football 82, the sticker book.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And when I first discovered what football was, I liked the colours of the Watford badge. Hence, I wear them. They'll always be in the background. Although I am a West Ham boy now, but
yeah,
you know, Watford were the first team I ever discovered. You know, I never actually made it to any games because my mum and dad were always working, so I never got to see any, which is a shame.
Yeah. Was that Watford? Was that back in the days of the likes of Kenny Jackett and Luther Blissett and John Barnes?
I would imagine so. Around the early 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
And the likes of there's other players that I remember now looking back, like Gary Penrice with his porno tash, you know, that sort of thing.
Gary Penrice, striker. He ended up
remember
at
Gary
QPR.
Penrice?
Yeah, well, yes, I remember him at QPR because my time in football started sort of more late 80s, early 90s. So yeah, I would have been about 8 or 9, sort of getting into
it's a
it.
Good era for football, like the late 80s.
Yeah. Well, my first live game I remember is Villa beating Everton 6-2 on the Big Match Live on ITV. And it was a David Platt, Ian Olney, Ian Ormondroyd, Paul McGrath, Derek Mountfield, an absolute belter of a team. And that's kind of why the Villa are always my go-to Prem team when Reading aren't there. But yeah.
I can remember a fair few Villa players from the past.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit after that era, sort of Daly and Atkinson and Dean Saunders and all them. But
yeah, so sort of the early to mid 90s era guys. Yeah.
That'd be my Villa memories.
Yeah, Sean Teal and Paul McGrath still there at centre back. Yes. What a pairing. Right. What a team.
What a pairing indeed.
So first real memory was the 1982. Was it Panini still then?
Yeah, I think the Panini still do it. Panini is still going.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still do it. They do all the sticker books.
They do. They have got a monopoly on it. I know other companies come out and try and bring other things out, but nothing ever beats Panini, does it? Let's be fair.
Nah, nothing will beat them.
No, especially when you open up your packet and there's one of those glorious little shinies in there. It's like winning the golden ticket on Willy Wonka, isn't
it? Absolutely. Never had many in the swap pile.
No. If you got a shiny, you didn't swap it, irrelevant of no matter how many of them you had, you kept the shinies.
You put them on your school books.
Exactly. They were your end of books bartering because people always wanted a shiny. If there was something you really wanted, hey, have a shiny. I'll take your rubbishy one. I need that. It's going to be my completer. Cool.
There you go.
So, question number 2. What was the first major international football tournament you remember? And what is it you remember most clearly?
Standout has to be, probably in my opinion, the best ever World Cup, which was Italia 90. All day long, I will stand by that. Italia 90 was amazing.
Yeah.
For all sorts of reasons.
It was definitely a tournament full of, I mean, now legends of the game.
I mean, I've never really been what you might call a sort of hardcore fan of England. I've always had a soft spot for the Republic of Ireland and that.
Yeah,
and I know England did quite well at Italia 90, but for me, I was on holiday for most of it with my mum and dad in Crete, I think.
Yeah.
And the hotel we were staying in had a lot of Germans in there.
Right. Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
At the age of around 15 years old at the time, or was it 14 or 15? I was in the hotel bar, not disclosing my age, drinking ouzo, and watching football with all the Germans, and it was amazing. And I mean, the Germans then were ruthless, like they are now.
Yeah, yeah. They won that one as well, didn't they? They beat Argentina in the final.
They did beat Argentina in the final.
Yes, and yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, although I only really have fleeting memories of Italia 90, it was a tournament where, as I say, it was full of legends. You look at like other tournaments and you can pick out key players from there, but then you could pick out key players from all of the countries. I mean,
absolutely.
That German team had it was covered.
Before Beckham came to fruition in the early 90s, I think there was only one or two players before him that were world class, and one of those was Thomas Hessler, part of the Italia 90 German side. He was brilliant back then.
Yeah, Hessler. You had Matthias as well.
Yeah, you could reel off the German side: Lothar Matthäus, Rudi Voller, Jürgen Klinsmann in his prime.
Yeah.
Wow. And back in the days of football transfers when they were small, when Alan Sugar rustled up £2 million to buy Klinsmann from Monaco to Spurs, that was one of the bargains in football for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a fantastic first season, or only season really. He came back on loan about 4 years later, but what a fantastic season he had at Spurs as well. That time he bagged 20 odd goals, I think. And
did he score a hat-trick or score one or two on his debut? Was it against Southampton or Man United or something? Right?
Sheffield Wednesday.
Or was it?
I'm pretty sure it was Sheffield Wednesday, and he went and done the dive, didn't he, as his celebration? Where he slid along the floor after being mocked for diving.
3 or 4 of the other players joined in as well. That was really good.
They did, yes. Yeah. But that was an unbelievable attacking ensemble at Spurs at the time. Defensively, not so great. But yeah, they had a very good attacking outfit at the time.
Yeah.
Cool. So Italia 90. So what was the one thing in that Italia 90? Obviously, was it being with all the Germans watching the game? Is that the standout moment for you? Or?
Yeah, because it sort of got me into the sort of, the being a fan and being the passion, finding the passion for the game.
Yeah.
Because the Germans were, fiercely patriotic, I guess. But,
yeah.
Being part of them, and, some of them were saying, you support Germany. And I said, well, I might as well do, because I'm sat here with you. So,
yeah.
I had to keep that quiet when I got home. But
yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I even went out and I asked my mum and dad to get me a West German shirt, because it had a pretty cool design at the time with the stripes going up and across and that. And I used to have it.
That was
I lost it years ago. So
that was the 3 colours, wasn't it? The red,
the 3
yellow,
stripes. It went down in like a
black, a
V, and then it came up and went across.
Yes. Yeah, very nice kit.
I'd like to see a sort of modernised version of that.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen them on eBay and things like that. I mean, they've never made it into the bad eBay buys, because I really like the shirt. I think also like the Dutch 88 shirt is really nice as well. The orange with the patterns.
I see you have a Dutch shirt there.
I do. I have a Dennis Bergkamp shirt behind us. That was one. The number 8, which is not known for Dennis Bergkamp, but it was his 98 World Cup shirt. So, and then we have behind that one the Tony Kroos one from the 2014 World Cup for Germany. So,
good choice.
Yeah, and it's all the 8s. It's like I'm dodgily sponsoring some betting company.
888.com. Yeah, you are.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Product placement.
Exactly. I'm waiting for them to contact me and throw some cash our way. Um, cool. So, question number 3. So,
Yeah.
let's just double check. Yes. Okay. Cool. So, when you played, Bob, what position did you play most regularly?
I tried all sorts. I mean, obviously, when I was playing, I was a hell of a lot thinner and fitter. But I used to sort of sit in somewhere behind the strikers because I used to like creating. I mean, it was fun scoring goals, and I scored some decent ones. But I like to be the creator, and set them up and try and feed it through the defence, I guess. Sort of a central attacking midfielder type roles, that sort of thing. Shadow striker, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, I suppose you're a couple of years older, but not drastically. And I suppose we were quite lucky.
No, I'm 3 weeks away from 45.
Yeah, cool. So I'm 41. So I think we were quite lucky that we grew up in an era where number 10s were prevalent.
Absolutely.
Because my best role was when everybody started playing 3 at the back in sort of the early 90s, maybe. It meant there was a spare man in midfield every time, so I was always that person. And then I had to make a decision when people binned that off and started to revert back to 4-4-2s. Am I a striker or am I a midfielder? Don't fancy the pressure of being the striker and having to score all the time. Don't fancy all the running of the midfield. Yeah, I'm a forward. So a nice easy switch up. But yeah, I was always very much the number 10, and it kind of that worked for me perfectly. So
sure.
Yeah. So you said you covered a lot of other areas as well. Where else did you sort of fill in?
I tried being in defence or sort of around that sort of area, but I had a few sending offs in defence because I didn't like people getting past me.
Right. Okay. So yeah,
I slowed them down a lot.
Yeah. Man and ball, whatever.
Yeah, I took a ball, whether it was the one on the ground or not, I don't know. But,
mild castrations going on a Sunday morning pitches.
Yeah,
Love it. Okay, cool. So then number 4, if you could have done something that would have enhanced your football ability,
right,
what would it have been? Or made more of?
Maybe have a slightly better mindset. Sort of paid a bit more attention. I was good at what I did back then.
Yeah.
Because when I left school, I'm thinking I really like football. Because I ended up in a boarding school because I was a little bit of a twit in mainstream education. And we were coached on occasion by players from Huddersfield or ex-players from Huddersfield and that. And I was writing letters to clubs and all over, up and down, everyone. And one in particular I wrote to when Brian Little was in charge at Leicester.
Yes, yeah.
And I actually got a letter back from him, signed by him, saying that they would consider having a look at some point. And I ended up sat at home one night and the phone rang and my mum said, "It's for you." He had phoned me.
Nice.
Yeah. And, I said, well, I'm just recovering from a bit of a knock, and we'll get to that in a second, but it was nasty. He said, is there anywhere you can stay in or around Leicester? And I said, well, most of my dad's side of the family are down there. Yeah. He said, well, sort something out in a few weeks and we'll have a look at you. And I ended up going down and trying out with them and that, but then the injury that I'd recently sustained sort of flared up again, and it finished me, which I was absolutely gutted about because I was doing really well down there, having the proper coaching and that.
Yeah.
I was starting to flourish. He understood the position I like to play in, and he let me do it. And being coached by the likes of what was his name? Is it Tommy Walsh at Leicester? back then the striker. I think, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yes.
Yeah.
Steve Walsh? No,
Steve Walsh. That was him, Steve Walsh. Tommy Wright, when he was at Leicester. Wright. Tommy Wright, yeah. Yes. Tommy Wright, Steve Walsh, and that when they were there. And, you know, it was an experience, but the injury finished me. So
yeah,
I'm now built for darts.
Fair enough. As seen just over the shoulder. The dartboard. Yeah. So what was the injury then, Bob? What was the injury?
Well, about 6 weeks before I left school, 6 or 7 weeks before I left, we the school leavers had a friendly against the local fire brigade. Right. And, you know, the weather was decent on the day, but it had been raining just before and it was drying out, so the pitch was really sticky.
Yeah.
And as I was playing rather well, I stomped my foot down to do a turn to get around one of the defenders, and my foot got stuck. And one of the other players comes sliding straight in, 2 foot straight into my right knee. Yeah. My knee bent in a way it wasn't supposed to bend.
Yeah.
And that took me out for a considerable length of time, and it hurt. It stung a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Sticky pitches and things like that are never good. The amount of the wet, slippery pitch I can deal with. Hard ground I can deal with. I don't mind landing on hard ground, but when it's a bit sticky, that's just it all.
The wet, slippery pitch I used to love when I played rugby because you could slide under everybody and score. But yeah, as far as the football goes, it was I learned a few new words shortly after that incident.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so number 5, the big 5.
The big 5.
What 5 attributes do you feel are key to make the ideal modern day footballer?
It depends what position they're playing in now, in my opinion, because I've seen a lot of your in the boxes that you've done.
Yeah.
And I would say that those 5 attributes would depend entirely on the position.
Yeah. So I would say,
as far as a central attacking midfield, you know, if we were going with the position that I played in, composure would have to be one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know, like your awareness, your situational awareness of what's going on around you.
Yeah. So
you
that could be
aware of that.
Would that be positioning? No, actually, wouldn't just be your awareness, wouldn't it?
Your awareness,
your ability to be
tactical awareness. That's what it'd be.
Yeah, cool.
Tactical awareness. The other one. See, I'm broken. I'm old. With the role I played, pace would be key. I would have thought.
Yeah. Cool.
Your accuracy in all areas, i.e., passing, you know, heading the ball, shooting, obviously is key as well. But your accuracy.
Yeah. See, I like the accuracy one because I think, and this is one that came up on the in the boxes with before, where someone had picked shooting and passing as 2 separate things, and I was like, but if you can kick a ball accurately, you should be able to do that whether you're shooting or passing. It shouldn't make any difference. Yeah, you're kicking a ball accurately. If you can pick a pass and hit it directly to someone's feet and they're 20 meters away from you, why can you not directly kick that ball into the bottom corner?
Absolutely right. Yeah.
So so I completely agree with that, and I think just in general, the accuracy covers it nicely.
Yeah, it does. How many is that? 4.
4, yes.
Right. Number 5. And I think, how can we leave this one out? For the position, stamina.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you got your pace, you got your stamina, you got your awareness, composure, and the 5th one.
Yeah. It's stamina, composure, tactical awareness, pace,
accuracy.
and accuracy.
Yes.
I like that. But I think, do you know what? Even though you said initially we'll look at it for the position you played, I
Yeah.
would say now those 5 are 5 of the key ones that you would need for anywhere on the pitch.
Yeah.
As a striker, if you're going to make those runs in behind, you need to be able to keep making those runs in behind. So you need the stamina. You still need the accuracy. Yeah. You need to know where the ball's coming from and who's picking you up. And you need the composure, because if you get in front of goal and you haven't got composure, pointless exercise. You're going to shank it every time. And also at the back, nowadays, the way football's played, the ball comes out from the back. So the defenders need to be composed. They need to know what they're doing before it comes to them. And
I was going to say one of the players that would stand out that had good composure and awareness would be your Dutch number 8 when he played in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Bergkamp.
Bergkamp, yeah.
When he scored that ridiculous goal when he flicked it up and spun round the defender. I mean, how the hell did he do that? I've watched the replay of that so many times. It's like,
well, just to throw that, when we started down the local this time last year in its original form, we done best ever Premier League goal, and Bergkamp's didn't win it.
What? Best ever Premier League goal? Wow.
We had Matt Le Tissier against Liverpool.
Yeah.
As the ball comes in and it's drilled at him, and his first touch controls it. The next one flicks it over one defender. He then flicks it over the next, and then side foots it into the bottom corner. An absolute peach. And the reason it won instead of the Bergkamp one was because throughout the whole move, I think Le Tissier looked as though he had full control over the ball. He knew what was happening at every moment. There's a moment with that Bergkamp one where he flicks the ball and he's not too sure where it's gone. He's tried to do it, but he looks around to see where the ball has gone first. And for that, I know he knew what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
He didn't look convinced that he was going to pull it off. Le Tissier at no point ever looked in doubt. And, when we talk about number 10s and those sorts of players, Matt Le Tissier, oh, good God. No stamina, no pace, but everything else. So, But, when you say the composure side of things, Bergkamp, never looked flustered. Always looked...
There were plenty of players floating around that had good composure in the sort of, again, that era, the great era, the early to mid-90s, there was plenty of them floating around. But, Bergkamp for me was brilliant. I mean, when that goal he scored in the World Cup against Argentina? I mean, that was obscene. Yeah. It was a quality finish.
And everybody
said... Michael Owen at France 98 against Argentina, that was composure.
Yes. Yeah.
And his awareness to get round them.
And at 18, he just run half the length of the pitch to have the composure to finish it like that as well. But it's weird as well, the Bergkamp one against Argentina, because I remember them saying at the time, it's a once in a lifetime goal. And then he scored an almost identical goal against Leicester in the Premier League, where the ball came over and he pulled it down, flicked it over the guy and side footed it past the keeper on the volley.
My daughter was very, very good at football. She was developing quickly. Yeah. She had a bit of an accident, and then she started to recover. She never played football again, but she was told at I think when she was 10 that if she carried on the way she was going, I mean, she was on the youth setup at Sligo Rovers, so it was a hell of a drive. It was a hell of a drive to get her up there from where she was living at the time, and. She was told at 10 that if she kept going the way she was, that there'd be no problem with her being in the Irish women's setup and the youngsters as well.
Yeah.
I mean, she was that good, and she was into Irish dancing as well. So it was like watching a 10-year-old Ronaldo, but a girl. The footwork she had was incredible.
Yeah.
It's something I'll always remember.
Yeah, sure. I keep trying to get my little one to get more involved in football and enjoy it more. She's got her football boots. She's got a Sevilla shirt and things like this, and she loves all of that. But just just getting her to do it and take a little bit more notice is hard. But I'm looking at it from a selfish point of view because I work out that by the time in 10 years' time, the professional women's game is going to be full of money. And, you know, I can jack everything in and live off her.
I wish there was more women's football on TV. Because I mean, I have one of them Fire Sticks that's got all the channels and stuff.
Yeah.
But you never seem to find much women's football, and I'd sit and watch it because some of them is really good.
Yeah.
You know, and it'd be interesting to see it. I wonder who would be the first £1 million women's player.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think the interesting thing is seeing the nations that in men's football aren't deemed as anything special, but in women's football are fantastic. You still have China, Denmark, Sweden. Yeah. They're all very bang average teams.
One footballing memory before you have to wrap things up for me. It was only a year or two back when, maybe a couple of years, I was bored one day. I had nothing to do. So I went to see England women play Sweden in Rotherham.
Yes.
And the Sweden won 2-0. And I was rather attracted to the Swedish number 10. She was just wow. But the quality of football on display that day was incredible.
Yes.
Really good.
The Swedish team is fantastic. And they've had some absolute worldy players go through there as well.
They should consider careers as models after they finish playing football as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard one because I think the problem is a lot of them do. I know, is it the American player Alex Morgan done a load of modeling stuff, and people, you get people then start to question, oh well, you know, actually they're only playing football to further a career in modeling. But I seem to remember loads of male footballers doing modeling. And, you know, some of them selling their soul to the likes of Top Man and things like that back in the 90s and doing all of that sort of thing. And no one even batted an eyelid. It just...
David Ginola. I remember it was half the Leeds team modelling for Top Man. David Batty, Gary Speed, and a few others in amongst it. And nobody batted an eyelid. But now it's, she's not interested in the football. She's only after a modelling career. No, it's an additional thing. People approach her because of who she is. Winds me up. Bob. Newcastle back in the day, though, in the 90s as well.
Yes.
Asprilla, Ginola. Yeah.
Oh, what a team.
They beat Barcelona. I remember watching that game, actually.
Tino Asprilla with a hat-trick.
Yes.
What a player. There you go. What a player. Bob, it has been an absolute pleasure to get you on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
If you don't already, Bob does stream on Twitch and on Facebook as well. I'm guessing you do some of your stuff. Is it?
I've like you said the other day, I've tried looking at that and it's a bit too fiddly at the moment.
Right.
So I'm sticking with Twitch, I think.
Fair enough then. Bob streams on Twitch. That makes life easier for me because his logo is underneath him right now, or his tag, sorry. Go check him out. Drop him a follow. Right there. Go follow him. Bob, as I say, it has been a pleasure and we will catch up with you very soon. In the meantime, we'll go back to me in real time, live time. Cheers.
Badgie, thank you very much. I'll see you again.